All right, welcome to another session. I'm in the booth again. This time I decided to race CBR number 3 in the Pro 1-2 field along with my Methods to Winning teammates, Pischon Jones, Charon Smith, Arturo, and I chopped this one up pretty good. So this is just a preview of the first lap. Not really digging the camera angle, but at the end, in the end, I should say, I paid a lot of attention to my shifting, and I did a lot of shifting, which I usually do, but it's interesting to see when I shifted and how I shifted up and shifted down and whatnot. So maybe you could pay attention to that as well. First lap, brake went off the front. Charon Smith was in it. Now there's a group trying to go across Charon's group, which I can't have him isolated, so I decided to take a digger of my own. And as you can tell, there's it looks like 2 guys trying to go across to his group. And yeah, I shut that down pretty quickly. Again, didn't want him in that group alone, so I didn't really know these 2 guys, but I had to just shut that down. So, oh, it's Danny Cam. Look, didn't even realize that. So definitely didn't want Danny Cam in there. I do definitely have confidence in Charon to beat Danny, but you still don't want to have him isolated. So it's best that I shut it down. As you can see, I came across, they pulled off, and then I had to keep going because the counter went. And this is when you're most vulnerable, is when you take a dig and it's someone counter you and you don't react. So I just stayed on the gas and brought those guys back. Shifted through the gears to find another gear just in case I have to pedal hard again. At this point in the race, we've been going on for about 45 minutes of an 80-minute race. So just a little under or a little over halfway. Again, a group is off the front, and with the momentum that I have, I just continue to push to keep the group motivated, to keep the group going fast. Believe it or not, we actually had a really fast race. Given the size of the field, also giving the headwind and crosswind that we had. If you look up the road, you can see there's 2 guys up there. You just missed them. They turned the corner, and in my head I'm thinking, it's a long way to go. If you look at my shadow, you can see me kind of looking through my arms. There's a rider from SoCal Cycling who's on my wheel. And as soon as I saw him, I knew I was on my own because he has a teammate up the front. So I'm actually chasing one of his teammates. So no way would I even expect him to take a chop and help bring the group back. So this was a big dig for me, just about a lap at full noise. And as you can see, when I get to the hill right here, which is about 2.5–3%, I start shifting through the gears because it's a stiff headwind and you're going uphill, and I just exhausted a lot of energy. So at this point, I'm just digging deep. I don't know what else to do. I can't quit now. You know, I come too far. If I quit now, the SoCal Cycling guy has had a free ride, and he will probably just jump across. So I knew it was now or never, and it was do or die. So, yep, I kept going, made it over to the break. That is Dave Casel in front of me, rolling his, as he called, the fastest bike on the planet, his 3T bike. Unfortunately, when I did make the junction to the break, the whole group was chasing, and we were all brought back. So here we are again. Another group is going off the front, and I am wasting another bullet. Actually, I shouldn't say waste, because I did have teammates, and we were racing as a team. So everything that I was doing was in favor of having Arturo in the break, or trying to slip Pischon up there, and definitely set it up for Charon. So there's another bullet that I have taken out of the chamber and brought that brake back. And here we are again. We are reaching about 50 minutes in right here, maybe even 55 minutes in. I just came back from a break. I see these 2 guys, really strong riders, go, so I gotta go. I just can't wait. I didn't see any reaction from the field, so I had to go back on. So that's about effort number 6 for me in this race, which at this point my legs were starting to hurt a little bit. I didn't get a chance to go out and ride on Saturday, and I felt a little stale. But this was all about heart more than ability right here. So I pull off and move over to the right so I can see what's going on. And of course, another counter, which was unsuccessful. I go all the way back to the back. But if you look up the road, the group is strung out, and I can see the players up there. So I set myself up to slingshot out of there. You can see I'm out of the saddle because my bike is wiggling back and forth. That means I'm delivering power. And if you look at the video, the duration of the video, you would notice my bike never really moves like that. I spend a lot of my energy in the saddle. You're actually more efficient in the saddle. You waste more energy to stand up. You heard me yelling pedal because I looked back and saw that we had a significant gap. But then, like always, there's always someone who gets funny and wants to pull out. At this point, it's not a reason to even play games. It's like the race is going down. I could feel the energy in the race that, you know, something was going to crack eventually. So I didn't waste time even pulling off or fighting with that guy. I just stayed on the gas. As you can see right here, I'm actually pretty motivated to see if this thing will split, but I look back, nothing's going on, so I pull off. Once again, that's about effort number 7, and I believe a counterattack one again. So that's Tyler again. He's absolutely on fire. Charon Smith, Arturo, and they shut that down pretty quickly. So I'm at the back of the field, and I see another break going, so I kind of slide off. If you look to the very right, there's a guy on the attack. The camera angle's not that good at this point, but you see another 3 guys up there. So once again, on the front, taking it amongst myself to bring these guys back, because again, we got Charon back there, who is a fast closer. So, I mean, we just had to depend on each other, and it was like one counter after the next. But here we are. Tyler's off the front. Charon just came back. And there's a SoCal cycling guy going for it, and I'm like, dude, this is a good break. These 2 guys can hammer. I've trained with both of these guys before, so I know what they have, and there it is. I dug deep, about effort number 8, and I was able to make the junction. And so I look back, we only have about 6 or 7 seconds. The group is they don't know if they want to go fast or not. So at this point, I just sped it up a little bit. I'm really hurting at this point, but I'm super motivated to make sure I stay in this group. And yeah, it worked out. We worked fairly well together until we had some inner fighting. It was amongst Tyler and myself. And but for the most part, we worked pretty well together. For about the last 4 or 5, about 3 to 4 laps, I actually stopped pulling because I was wondering why Tyler wouldn't allow me to take a full chop. So I got upset at him, and yeah, we slowed down a little bit, and a group of 5 actually came across. They had been chasing us the entire time. They finally made the junction with about 3 laps to go. So at this point, I'm just assessing the group, seeing who's here, who's the competition, keeping an eye out who's going on. Of course, you don't want to let this group just slide off the front. So I get back on the gas just a little bit. And now everyone's kind of looking at each other. Everyone has exhausted huge energy. So these guys just got to the group, and then for some reason, this Kelly Benefit guy wants to take me off the back. And I'm just like, all right, whatever. I've won plenty of races before. I've never seen you, so you must have not won a lot of races, so I'm okay with getting dropped out of his group if you want to play games. So I'll put the pressure on him, and sure enough, he had to close the gap. So here we are going into the last lap. 2 guys have attacked, and I get on the gas just a little bit to get the group motivated, and no one wants to pull through. This is bell lap, and now I'm like, oh wow, these 2 guys are going to slip off the front. So I get caught in the wrong gear. These guys take off. My legs are loaded up. My heart rate is very high. And at this point, I'm thinking, all right, just stay on the gas, stay on the gas. Maybe they'll play around. But Jason comes over the top of me and puts the hammer down. I would say this was a big favor. You know, in cycling, there's a lot of favors. So I definitely owe him one here because he didn't have to take this chop. He could have said, oh, well, I'll just go for 4th, try to beat Rasan on the line. But he did not. He took a nice chop throughout this straightaway right here, which is a slight downhill, but in a tailwind. But it was still a tough part of the race because we have been full noise for about the last 3 laps. So I finally connect to the group, and as you can see, everyone sits up. I move over to the right so I can see who will be attacking, and sure enough, as soon as I do that, Ronnie takes a flyer, but it just wasn't fast enough to catch the group off guard. And reason why, that part of the course is a slight downhill, and he really had to go really hard to get rid of us. So here I am setting up, hands in the drops, out of the saddle, in the saddle. I won a race here not too long ago, actually the last time they did a race here in this section and on this course, and I had this specific time where I wanted to attack and start my sprint, and there it is, I'm out of the saddle. I wanted to shoot all the way to the curb, but there was someone there, so I pretended like I was going to go right and then back inside, caught Tyler off guard a little bit, and I was able to open up a significant gap. Actually, I was surprised when I turned around. I didn't even have to do 110% sprint because I had such a gap coming out of the last corner. So congratulations to everyone who raced, stayed upright, and looking forward to the next one. Methods to winning. Remember to subscribe. Peace.